Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are safe. Guys, we're one day away from the fight. You bet you guys are excited. But this video is not going to be about that. It's going to be about Demetrius Andrade and what Eddie Hearn said yesterday, which I actually wanted to pick up on and talk about and discuss. And it was actually a sad state of affairs. Eddie Hearn confirmed that, Demetrius Andrade will leave him. Now, we knew about this. I did a video like a month ago about it. But he basically confirmed to Fight Hub that Demetrius Andrade is a very good fighter, a top quality fighter, but I can't deliver the big fights for him. I can't get the fights that he deserves. I can't get the big fights. I just can't get the opportunity. So if I can't deliver him, and I think Eddie Hearn's a brilliant promoter, and he's great at this. He said, if I can't deliver him the fights, then he deserves an opportunity to go elsewhere, and maybe someone else can deliver him, because I failed him. I couldn't really get him the big fights. Now, he never really failed him because he made him a lot of money. He mentioned this. He goes, I kept him active and made him a lot of money, but I couldn't really deliver him the big fights. So it's not really worked out. So he needs to go elsewhere and see if someone else can deliver him a big fight. And Eddie Hearn basically is not trying to hold up his career. Other promoters try to hold up your career, not getting you the big fights, promising you things. But Hearn is the type of guy where he may accept that, I couldn't deliver for this guy. I couldn't deliver for this guy, but this guy's he's able to go elsewhere and see if someone else can make him a big fight. And what he means by that, maybe go to PBC. Maybe they'll be able to get him the Benavidez fight, get him a fight that he deserves. So Hearn's not trying to hold up his career. He basically says that, I think, maybe, look, he was out of contract anyway, but they probably had talks to extend or whatever, and they probably came to a mutual agreement. Maybe Hearn wanted him to carry on, but they probably came to an agreement that I haven't really delivered you the big fights. I can't really get you the big fights. And there probably was a discussion about Canelo Alvarez. Maybe he realized that the Canelo Alvarez fight is just not there. So then really, what can he deliver him? The Golovkin fight, Golovkin doesn't look like he's interested. So I do feel sorry for Andrade. It's not all of Andrade's fault. I know you guys love to have a go at him, but look, Eddie Hearn's just admitted it. I couldn't deliver him the big fights. I tried to get him the big fights. I couldn't deliver it him. He's openly admitting it, that I couldn't really deliver it him. And the reason why he couldn't deliver it him, because a lot of the guys don't want to fight him. As Eddie Hearn said, he's very good. He's got an awkward style. Nobody wants to go near him. Nobody wants to fight him. And it's sad. It's sad that it's sad. It's sad that it's come to a point where a talented fighter can't get fights because he's awkward. He's not commercially, like basically what Eddie Hearn said, that he's a good fighter. He's awkward. He's just tricky. He's a tricky fighter, and he doesn't really bring the interest and the numbers that those guys want in order to make the fight happen. He's too risky a fight, and he doesn't really bring the payday for the risk. Which, for me, is what's bad about boxing. Is like, you've got guys like Andrade that can't get a fight because of the fact that he's good, he's awkward, and he's not a big star. So he can't get the big fights. People always talk about Andrade duck this fight and duck that fight and duck that fight. At the end of the day, we just got the best promoter in the world, right? Who's proven that he can make fights happen, right? Saying, like, Eddie Hearn's provided a lot of guys with no opportunity. Like, Billy Joe hadn't really fought anyone. Callum Smith hadn't really fought anyone. And he got those guys opportunities against Canelo, right? And many others, he got opportunities too. People said he did a bad job for Kell Brook. He gave Kell Brook an opportunity to, got Kell Brook a world title shot. He then got Kell Brook a shot at Jesse Vargas, but Kell Brook decided, he wanted to fight Golovkin. But at the end of the day, he made a lot of money for Kell Brook. People said Hearn ruined Brook's career, but he actually made him a multi-millionaire. Yeah, he couldn't get Brook the Khan fight, but that was because Amir Khan wanted to do what he wanted to do. He was fighting over America. He didn't want to fight Kell Brook. So the point I'm trying to make is that Hearn's a good promoter, and he can't get people. He can't force people in the ring. Like Eddie Hearn said, I can't force people in the ring with Demetrius Andrade. And he's right. He can't force people in the ring. So I think some of you should cut the slack for Andrade, because even though I believe that, you know, his team has been incompetent because they've not been with Hearn throughout his career, and he's not managed to secure big fights throughout his whole career. So something's wrong. The people around him, or something's not right. But at the end of the day, I feel sorry for him, because Eddie Hearn's openly saying that I couldn't deliver him. I couldn't deliver him the big fights. And he clearly wanted to. He clearly was pushed. Look, Eddie Hearn was, after Demetrius Andrade fights, was pushing guys like Golovkin, Charlo to fight him. But it weren't happening. He was pushing, and Eddie Hearn's great at calling people out. I remember all those years ago when he was trying to make the Brook Khan fight. Oh my goodness. He was pushing that hard. He was putting so much pressure on Amir Khan to make that fight. But at the end of the day, you can only pressurize someone so much. That doesn't, look, you can put a lot of public pressure on them, right? And he did that with Charlo, and he did that with Golovkin. But those guys weren't interested in Andrade. I can understand Golovkin, because Golovkin was looking for the Canelo fight, but why Charlo wasn't interested is beyond me. Why the hell is Charlo not interested in fighting Demetrius Andrade? And he called him a horrible fighter. He called Demetrius Andrade a horrible fighter, when that would be the best name on his resume by a country mile. Yeah, man, it's not good. It's not good for boxing that we have such a talented guy like Demetrius Andrade that's just been wasted and eroded away. He's 35 years of age. He's 35 years of age and not really fought anybody. You know, that's not good for the sport of boxing, because boxing is hurt. Because, you know, Andrade could have been a star. Andrade could have been really good. He could have been special. But we didn't really get to find out, because nobody was willing to fight him, probably incompetency from his team. And the best promoter in the world, or one of the best promoters in the world, you know, in my opinion, the most vocal, and a guy that can make things happen, especially a guy like Eddie Hearn, because he's not like Frank Warren. Like, Frank Warren does it a little bit, but Bob Arum, not so much. When someone's ducking a fight, or when Eddie Hearn wants to make a fight that's avoiding him, Eddie Hearn's very good at putting public pressure on fighters. Right? And he did that with Charlo and Golovkin, and yet it still couldn't make Andrade a big fight. Now, he did make Andrade a fight with Billy Joe Saunders, which I wouldn't say that's a huge fight, but it was definitely a big fight. It was definitely much higher profile than a fight that Andrade's ever been in. And Billy Joe used to criticize Andrade as well, that he's fought nobody, he's fought a load of husband, but that would have been the breakout fight for Andrade if Andrade could have won. It would have been the breakout fight. I personally think he would have beaten Billy Joe. I think he was all wrong. I don't think Billy Joe had any kind of power to really trouble Andrade. And I think Andrade's faster than Billy Joe. Billy Joe's a more slick guy, that he's not really a combination puncher. He doesn't really throw a lot of punches in bunches. Andrade throws punches in bunches, and he's a bit more powerful. He's a heavier hitter than Billy Joe. That would have been a tough fight for Billy Joe Saunders. But here's the thing, for Billy Joe, it probably worked out right, because Billy Joe eventually got the Canelo fight, right? Which, if he had fought Andrade and lost, in my opinion, I think he would have lost to Andrade. He wouldn't have got the Canelo fight. So it kind of worked out well. It kind of worked out well for Billy Joe, because he ended up getting a fight that paid him a lot more money, that secured, you know, his future. Now he doesn't need to box again. And if he is going to box again, he's going to be probably want a huge stack of money. So I think Billy Joe's done. Like, when was the last time he fought? He fought Canelo, was it last year? Yeah, he fought Canelo last year in May. So we're almost now a year. Is it a year on? Yeah, it's a year on. Yeah, so because I'm pretty sure he must have fought him last May. Yeah, so it's a year on now, and there's nothing about Billy Joe coming back. So I personally think Billy Joe's done, in the sense that I don't think Billy Joe's gonna come back. But enough of Billy Joe. See, that could have been a good fight for Andrade, but that's dead now. That's never gonna happen. And Andrade's moved to 168 now. So yeah, Billy Joe, to be fair, he probably won't be able to make anything less than 168 now as well, because he's put on so much weight. So that was always a fight that intrigued me, but it could have been a very dull fight, because both guys are southpaws. Both guys are guys that are not the most exciting fighters in the world. So it may have not been a great watch, but it's sad, because I think that would have been a great fight, and I think that would have catapulted the winner of that fight onto a big stage. I think that would have catapulted Billy Joe onto a big stage, and if he had won, and it would catapulted Andrade onto a big stage. So it was like a come-out party for the winner of that fight. I was really looking forward to that fight. At the time when Andrade and Billy Joe got made, I was so excited because they were both good fighters, and the winner of that fight would have definitely, in my opinion, catapulted to stardom. And it didn't happen for Billy Joe or Andrade. You know, Billy Joe then got a Canelo fight, and that was that. You know, that was always going to be that for Billy Joe, in my opinion. I don't really think he has the love for boxing. You know, Andrade, on the other hand, I think he does have love for boxing. I do think he's quite dedicated. You never see Andrade out of shape. You always see him in shape. He's always training. So I do think Andrade is craving big fights, but Andrade hasn't got the big fights. He hasn't got a Canelo fight. He hasn't got a big fight. So is he ever going to get it? I don't know, because at this rate, we're going to say he's 34, 35 years of age. Is he ever going to get a big fight? Probably, if we're going off right now, probably not. He might not ever get a big fight, which would be, in my opinion, criminal for a fighter of that talent not to be involved in a big fight. You know, that's not good for the sport of boxing. And look, it's not just his fault. It is his fault to an extent, but it's also not his fault. It's the fault of the way boxing is today. Boxing is today is that people want to fight for the biggest purse for less risk. And that's the Mayweather motto, where it's fight guys, low risk, high reward. That was Mayweather's motto at welterweight, not at his early career, because Mayweather fought everyone early on. And that's what people don't understand. People don't understand that people don't want to go through, and someone said this, I don't know whether it was Haney or whoever it was, someone said that people don't want to go through the pretty boy Floyd Mayweather stage. They want to jump straight to Money Mayweather. I think it might have even been Tiafimo that said that. Pretty boy Floyd put in a lot of work. Money Mayweather was more of a businessman. But the point I'm trying to make here is that someone like Demetrius Andrade, because he's a good and awkward fighter, nobody wants to fight him because they look at him as high risk and low reward. Even though, like, he might be good reward now, there may be good money, but they don't feel that it's worth the risk. The money that they get, even though it may be good, doesn't warrant the risk. So only somebody in that same boat, like Janabek, that's looking to make a name for himself, would be willing to fight. But Andrade looks at Janabek and think, why do I want to fight this guy? This guy's below me. I don't really get anything from fighting Janabek. Andrade's at the stage where he wants a big fight. Benavidez, Plant, Canelo. He wants those type of names. He doesn't want a Janabek. He doesn't want that type of fight. He wants a type of fight. See, but exactly, you could criticize Andrade of the same thing. Just the way Canelo looks at Andrade, Andrade's looking at Janabek. But Andrade wants to fight somebody of his level, like a Benavidez, like a Caleb Plant, somebody that he can get credit for beating, because if he beats Janabek, he don't get credit. Would Canelo get credit for beating Andrade? Probably would, because there's some people out there, I think that the people out there that, but then having said that, if Canelo beats Andrade, they'll probably say Canelo aged Andrade, you know? He ducked him for 4 or 5 years, then aged him and then fought him. So Canelo's probably in a no-win there, but I still think that I want to see Andrade in a big fight. I want to see him. I want to see how good he is. You know, I just don't know whether we're ever going to get him in a big fight at this point. I think the fight that's probably more realistic and a fight that I think will probably happen is the Benavidez fight, because they both, for me, kind of hit me across or come across as the same type of guys that they're willing to fight. I think they'll be willing to fight each other, you know, because I never forget that Andrade wanted to fight Billy Joe, and Billy Joe is a tough fight for anybody. It's an awkward fight. So Andrade isn't scared of a challenge. And Benavidez is kind of similar to Billy Joe, not in terms of fighting style, but the way he's perceived. Nobody wants to go near him. He's high risk, not the biggest reward. And that's a dangerous fight for Andrade. So I think both of them are in the same boat. So I think both of them will take that fight. I think that might be the big fight out there. And if he wins that, then that might catapult him onto something else. But a lot of people think Benavidez wins. I'm not so sure. But we'll have to wait and see. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about what Hearn said. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.